Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the fourth grade parent orientation. It's my pleasure to have all of our fourth grade classroom teachers and special educators join us this evening to present information to you about their fourth grade curriculum, expectations, classrooms, and I think you will really enjoy getting all of this information and understanding a little bit better how your students' year is beginning at Center School. So thank you very much for joining us. We are recording this and we'll be posting it to our website as soon as tomorrow morning. And I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Walsh to get things started.
Sorry about that. Thank you all for being here. We know you have very busy schedules, so we truly appreciate you taking the time to be here. We have a slide presentation for you tonight that hopefully will answer a lot of your questions about the nuts and bolts of what goes into a fourth grade day. We are going to open up the Q&A, so if you have some questions, please feel free to drop them in there. We're going to allot about 15 minutes at the end of the presentation to answer your questions, and any that we don't get to, we will follow up with an email to you shortly. So before we start, we just wanted to take a minute to introduce ourselves to you.
Hi everyone, welcome. I'm Cindy Ferguson.
I'm Carrie Cabrero.
I'm Mark Lancaster.
Hi everyone, I'm Beth Lucarelli. Hi everyone, I'm Cheryl Tavares.
Hi everyone, I'm Alyssa Becker.
Hi everyone, I'm Ann Gordon.
Hello, I'm Val Haley.
Hi there, I'm Katie O'Donnell.
Good evening, everyone. I am Mr. Wilson, Russ Wilson, the assistant principal.
Okay, so I think we will just roll right into our slide presentation, and we're going to take turns just sharing some information with all of you. Sorry about that. This is our slide on home learning space, and ideally we would like to replicate the classroom setting at home as much as possible. So this ideally would mean that your child is sitting at a table or a desk. Supplies are within reach. Supplies meaning pencils, crayons, their math book, their Storyworks magazine, scrap paper to write on, their independent reading book and stickies, their home folder, headphones, and a charger nearby. We want to make sure that each student has their Google login information or their Clever badge. We would like to have a distraction-free zone. We love your pets, but just not during our lessons. So no pets, no food, siblings, anything distraction. We really want that distraction-free zone going. We want to make sure that you arrive to all of our Zoom meetings on time, and that we would really love you to have your growth mindset reminders close by, and all students received in their welcome bags their growth mindset. So they are going to encounter things that are challenging, and we want them to have those reminders close by that they can do it.
And to talk a little bit about Zoom expectations, each fourth grader, while they're learning remotely, has 4 Zooms each day. A morning meeting where we take attendance, do some social and emotional connecting with peers. We usually address things that happen at any normal morning meeting at school that would come up. Each student has a math instructional Zoom, an ELA instructional Zoom, and then the last Zoom of the day is an afternoon meeting. It's usually used to tie up the day, answer any questions, and often will be a guided read aloud. Now, to make the most of our time on Zoom, it's very important, as Mrs. Tavares said, that students arrive on time. Lessons begin right when Zoom begins, and attendance is posted to the office at 8:35, right at the beginning of that first Zoom. The screen names that students should enter when they join Zoom should always be their full first and last name. Everyone should stay muted while they're participating. And, oops, excuse me, lost you there. And as Mrs. Tavares said, we should always have a low distraction location if possible, avoiding snacks and pets and siblings, and all tools should be handy. There's only a very small window of learning time on Zoom, so to have to shoot off and go find things that are needed for the lesson takes up a little time. Thank you.
Here are some sample schedules that we have. We each have specialists in our mask breaks and our recess at different times, but we've worked really hard to make sure that all of our schedules align. And we've also worked hard to make sure that we're aligning the day between the remote students and the in-person students. So you can see the breakdown on each schedule here. And like I said, everyone has very similar blocks for math, writing, and reading. And we structure our day and try to keep them as close to each other as we can. And you'll notice the remote students don't have the movement breaks and the recess breaks and the specialists built in, or at least they have been so far, but once we finish iReady, they'll have some iReady lessons to work on during that time. We've figured that it's about 4 hours of academic instruction time a day, and at home, they obviously don't, their breaks would be a little different. They would be taking them, you know, shorter and more in between each lesson than having these longer breaks. So the students, and then on their Wednesdays, it's a little bit shorter. It's like our old Tuesdays in years past.
All right, so for math breaks and recess, each class has one 30-minute math break a day. And during this time, we try to get the kids outside. Obviously, depending on the weather, they might have to be inside, but it's 30 minutes outside for a movement break. They may bring a snack, but if they're eating, they have to be 6 feet apart to be able to have their snack. And also, there's another time in the day for recess, which is also another 30-minute block.
Hi everyone, I'm going to start talking about some curriculum that we're going to be going over in 4th grade. I'm going to start with the math and the reading. Mrs. Gordon will follow up with writing, social studies, and science. And so for math this year, we're continuing to use Pearson and Vision, also known as Savas. And each lesson really has 3 main components. There's a solve and share, visual learning, which is a video that students follow along with, and then there's also a section for assessment and differentiation. And so our students really do a combination of everything each day, including guided and independent practice. Our math program is aligned with state Common Core standards, and there's also a technology component which students will be completing online through either a practice buddy or a quick check. Also, their assessments are done digitally as well through the Savas program. This program in particular encourages understanding through perseverance and math talk. So really learning to conquer those challenging problems without quitting. Some highlights for this year's math include long division, multi-digit multiplication, including 2 by 2 as well as 4 by 1. We'll also cover fractions and geometry, as well as some additional fact practice. And it's going to be really important this year that students are really practicing those facts, especially as we get into multi-digit multiplication and long division. They're gonna come in very handy. So I advise just keep practicing those at home, even if it's just for a few minutes a day. And for reading, we use a Reader's Workshop model. We're going to be using a bunch of different types of text this year. So we're going to be using trade books, our Storyworks magazine, and novels. This will cover a variety of genres. So students will be reading nonfiction as well as fiction, short stories as well as novels. And we're really going to focus on 4 main categories in reading, and that's vocabulary, fluency, comprehension, and grammar. And those are going to be done both in school and asynchronously at home.
So hi everyone, I'm going to talk about our writing program. So here at Center School, we follow the Empowering Writers program. And through that program, we write a variety of genres. So we write narrative pieces, persuasive arguments, informational and explanatory text. A big piece of what we do is responding to literature and other texts. As far as our social studies curriculum is concerned, we just finished our geography unit where we covered a variety of map and globe skills to help us with the rest of the curriculum that we're going to be looking at for the rest of the year. Some other highlights of our social studies curriculum: we're going to study the North American geography and ancient civilizations, expansion of the United States in the regions of the United States today, including states and capitals and things like that. And we'll also study early European exploration of North America. My light just went. For science, we are going to study a variety of topics. We just started a new science unit on renewable and non-renewable resources. We'll also cover various forms of energy, such as sound and light. And we'll also study the Earth's changes, such as weathering and erosion.
Okay, we spent a lot of time talking about feedback and the best way to give feedback to kids because feedback is what drives their progress. So we spent a lot of time researching rubrics, and we came up with one that we thought was best because it gives both adult language at the top of the rubric, you can see on the screen, and then it gives it in kid language. And we are going to be showing the kids this rubric tomorrow at morning meeting and really explaining to them what a 1 means, what a 2 means, a 3 and a 4, because we are a standards-based grading elementary school. So just to quickly look on your screen, a 1 we consider emerging, meaning that the student still needs support and intervention as they're doing their work. A 2 we consider developing, so the student has some understanding, but it's inconsistent, and they still require some support to complete an assignment. A 3 is meeting grade level expectations. And the important thing we want to say about a 3 is that the work we're giving them is grade level. So earning a 3 means they're meeting that completely. In order to earn a 4, which is exceeding, they need to be given work that's beyond a 3rd grade level to start with, which some of them will along the way. But for the most part, the work they're getting is on grade level. So a 3 means they're meeting that mark completely. And then the bottom part just gives you the kid language. So, you know, a 1 emerging, we would say to the kids, you're ready to go, you're starting, you just can't fully do it by yourself yet. A 2 means you're starting to understand it, but sometimes you still need some help or some examples, visuals to help you along the way. A 3 means I can do it by myself, I can show that I understand it, I make little to no mistakes. And a 4, and I think this is the important part, is not only do I understand it, but I could then take this and teach it to someone else because I have such a strong grasp of the material. So that's how we'll explain it to the kids. As far as finding grades, this is just a screenshot of what it looks like in a student email on your screen. And you'll see that second email there, it says graded simile slideshow. If your students log in, and you can have them log in to see this, if you see graded, it means something's been returned. When you open that box underneath there where it says 4 out of 4 is the fraction, is the grade on it. And then you'll notice a second email underneath that adds a comment. And sometimes we send comments back, sometimes it's just the grade back. But the 2 boxes underneath show the fraction score. So this was a 4 out of 4, and then my comment was great. So anytime you log into your student's email, you can look there for graded assignments. And we're really gonna start with that tomorrow. And we're gonna talk to the kids about it first. And the only other thing I wanted to mention, one thing that's different is when they take math tests, those won't appear in the student email. You will actually get a hard copy, a paper copy of a cover sheet and a summary that has their score printed out on it, and the areas they met expectations and the areas they're still working on. And those will come back once all of the tests are complete. So you can look for those in their take-home folders.
Okay, I have a few slides to share with you about accessing and using Google Classroom. There are 3 ways that my students have been able to get on, and I guess the other day one of my students found another way. One is if you're using a Chromebook and at the bottom of the Chromebook, you have your dock with some icons at the bottom. If you see that green icon there, they can click on that Google Classroom icon and then just type in their username and password. They can also go on via Google. If they type in google.com in the URL box at the top, they can click on the waffle in the top right, select the Google Classroom icon, the green icon again, and then again type in their username and password. Another way is to log on through Clever. If they go to clever.com or use the hanoverschools.org website and find the student links, they can find the Clever link there, which is that sort of bluish link right there, and you'll get a QR code, which they have at home now. I believe they've all been given theirs, and they all have probably one at school as well to log into Google Classroom. I have another slide. Next. Now, when your child opens Google Classroom, I just took a screenshot of mine. They're going to have their classroom with all their information there. They'll also have all of their specialists will have a link as well. They've been asked to join all their specialists. If they don't have all of these on their screen, all their art, music, PE, and wellness, then they need to, and music as well, they need to then join that slideshow or join that Google Classroom, excuse me. My next one is if and when they get on, there's going to be two sections that they need to look at. One on the left, it's their Google Stream, and from there they might have messages from their teacher, or it's also a place where they can post their messages to their teacher. Some of us use that. Some of us use an email system as well. On the bottom right is where the classwork assignments are. At the top, you'll see that it has stream and classwork. So if you click on classwork, it will show them all their assignments, and we all have them organized with the day or the week that they are assigned. So you'll see all of their assignments showing up there. And if their assignment turns a grayish color, that means that they've turned it in. If it's still colorful, that means they still have to finish it or turn it in. Speaking of turning in, once the student has selected their assignment, then they get another box on the right that says completing your assignment. They'll click on the assignment that says Mr. Lancaster, Google Slides. They'll do the assignment. Then they have to go back with their back arrow, and the bottom is the most important piece. It says turn in. They need to click on that box that says turn in, and they get there by clicking on the word view assignment on the second box on the right. Click on view assignment, turn it in only when they're done. Some of our slideshows that we have are 3 and 4 days long, and we remind the children not to turn them in until they are fully completed. I guess that's our evening. So thank you for joining us, and now we'll take a few minutes for questions and answers.
Thank you, grade 4. That was a great job. You have no questions in the queue. So I don't know if parents, if they may have them, if they want to add them to the Q&A, that would be super helpful. But right now you don't have any. I'm wondering if it's possible that you would share your PowerPoint and send it home to families along with knowing that we'll be posting this on our website. Would that be possible? Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Great. So I see one question come in. The first is a thank you for everything you're doing to get the kids started this year. Wednesday is a shorter instructional day. Is it a full day for schoolwork? And are graded assignments also logged in Aspen? So I don't know who wants to take that. Is Wednesday a shorter instructional day or a full day for schoolwork?
Wednesdays is a little bit shorter. We're looking at that more like our old Tuesdays. So there is a little bit less. I think that when we talked about the minutes, I think on the regular school days, there's about 4 hours of instructional time. And on Wednesdays, I think we figured around 2.5 or 3 hours of instructional time.
And I'm happy to answer the question about Aspen. So the grades are not put into Aspen until we actually issue report cards. So we keep track of the grades through Classroom, and then once report cards are posted, that's what you'll see in Aspen.
Great. Another thank you for all of your working double duty. And then another question, how do we have visibility into our kids' schoolwork and whether they have turned things in on a daily or weekly basis?
I know, I'll take that question. I know with my students and the other fourth grade teachers, we have been letting our students know because I think a lot of them are forgetting to hit turn in. So if it doesn't go gray, like Mr. Lancaster said, you'll know that it has not been turned in. But I think we're just getting the kids into the routine right now. So I know that myself, I've contacted the student as well as the parent if assignments are missing at this point.
And to access your students' work, you would need to log in under their Google Classroom ID, their Google password and login information, and go in through their email in that way. If we add parents to the Google Classroom, then they also get assigned the assignments. So it's not something that works at this level.
Great. I don't see any other, let me see if there's any other questions in here for you. Oh, a couple more. Mrs. Ferguson, can you unshare your screen? Would you mind? So when are the assignments for the week posted? Last year, we tried to go over the upcoming week on Sunday night so that we knew what to expect.
I can answer that. So the big difference between the spring and now is that now that we're including the live teaching and the live instruction, there are certain lessons the kids can't do until they've had that instruction in the classroom, nor would we want them to. They're not going to get fully out of the assignment what they could if they've already had the lesson. So the reason it doesn't appear weekly is because we have it pop in. In fact, like there are certain assignments that won't appear in their Google Classroom until, let's say, 11:30, because we know we're teaching an ELA lesson at 11 that they need to have prior to doing that assignment. So some assignments will pop up in the morning, and then some you might not see pop up until the afternoon, until after we've delivered that live instruction to them.
Thanks to all the teachers and staff for an amazing job. Thank you for everything you're doing. And thank you for all your hard work. Will students be marked absent if they miss a Zoom for reading or math? I know attendance is taken in the morning, but I know my child has missed a Zoom or been late to one.
I'll take that question. So attendance is taken right at 8:35 and then posted to the office. And students do need to attend the reading and math Zooms regularly, and they do need to be on time. It's very difficult if a student comes even 3 or 4 minutes late. You know, obviously everyone will have a day where they have a dentist appointment or something comes up or there's a family situation. And we're really just looking for that consistent attendance. But they won't be marked absent for the day.
How do we help our children when they express frustration over remote learning?
I can take that one with the growth mindset reminders. In your welcome bag, in the 4th grade welcome bags that they received on their first day of school, I've asked my students to tape these in a visible spot so that if they are feeling like they're not good at this, they can go back and think, well, look at my reminders, try thinking, what am I missing? Can I use a different strategy? Is this just good enough, or is this really my best work? And we also have no problems if your child is really struggling to say, hey, let's take a break for a few minutes, come back to this, and then try like a new way to think. We're really pushing those growth mindsets this year.
So the next question is on, will there be MCAS this year? And if so, can you please speak to that? Thanks again. So I'll take that one. We don't have anything formal from the Department of Ed yet, but we certainly will update everyone as soon as we have information about MCAS. So we're gonna move on and just keep doing a good job until we hear more about that. The next question is, will there be additional homework this year? Anything else we should do besides independent reading and math facts after the formal school day?
I'll take that. No, there will not be additional homework right now. Just to, of course, do some independent reading and always their math facts, but nothing additional right now.
There's a question about grading for math in the virtual academy. And the virtual academy teachers will be doing an evening just like this coming up in a week or so. And I'm gonna let them answer that, but it should be very similar to what you heard tonight about feedback and grading and posting assignments. But I'll encourage you to attend that meeting. Next question, sometimes my child needs help from me, but I can't assist until after school hours when I'm home from work. When do assignments need to be turned in each day?
I can take this question. So obviously we hope that students are able to complete the assignments by the end of the day, but we recognize and understand that everyone has different schedules. And so if you need to work on assignments with your students at night, absolutely. We usually give it a couple days. Often if the assignments aren't completed the next day, we might send a reminder to the student or jot a comment in the assignment that they're working on. But we would give them a couple of days to complete it before we reached out to parents.
How are you making up for any lost learning from in the spring?
I can take this one too if you want. So we are constantly assessing the students, not big tests or anything like that, but since they've arrived, we've been really giving them little assessments or little activities in which we're able to assess their skills. In 4th grade, we do pre-tests before every math topic so we can see where their needs are and how we can differentiate. And we will continue to do those things. And that's partially why we can't post assignments at the beginning of the week, because we need to make adjustments to our plans as the week rolls out, as we see what the kids are able to do. And if we post all the assignments on Sunday, then it makes it really hard for us to tweak the plans. And at this point, more than ever, we really need to have that flexibility of seeing where the kids are at and really meeting their needs.
Thank you, Cindy. Realizing that this is optimistic, and I love this question, does the school system have a date to review if there will be a change to the virtual learning and a potential switch to full-time in school? And in parentheses, it says COVID-free and God willing, ha ha. So I can tell you that there is nothing more than these teachers want all of their students back in school all the time. This remote learning thing is as frustrating and tearful for them as it is for your children. So that's what we're working towards. So in terms of that, the review date that the district has posted is November 2nd, is a time that they want to go back and revisit the hybrid model and see how are we doing in the community, in the schools, health-wise, safety-wise. And I will tell you, Center School and the staff and students and families here are rocking it, as is the town. So if we keep doing the hard, great work that we are, we should be back in the classrooms full time as soon as possible. That is our goal. We want that to happen. As far as if we were to have to go fully virtual or full, as we call it, fully remote, that all depends on what's happening in the community, in the school, and it really comes down to keeping people safe. So Mr. Superintendent Ferrin and Mrs. Patricia Smith, our nurse leader, along with the Board of Health and all the other agents in town that are keeping a very close eye on that, on how things are going, will make those decisions as needed on an hour-to-hour, day-to-day basis. But I can tell you that the teachers are prepared in the unfortunate event that that needs to happen. but our true goal is to be back in school, in person, full-time, as soon as possible. So we appreciate your support, and we're determined to get there. So I don't think I see any other questions. I think you got to all of them. Yeah, I think you hit them all. So thank you again to the staff. You did an amazing job. If you wouldn't mind sharing the PowerPoint, we'll post this recording of your parent evening. And I don't think you have any questions to follow up on because you answered them all. Great job. Thank you. And thank you to the fourth grade parents for your continued support. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.